So then we're gonna do it. We got to do it right, right?
I know that's right. How you been with all the interviews and all this stuff?
Oh,
I was just watching Rena's again, and then I watched you with my girl Crystal. I met Crystal a few times here. She's really cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Yes.
Yeah. How's it going?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I heard a whole lot in the lot. I got you.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. The last one with all the men.
Yes.
It was a lot.
Okay. Okay.
You know, it was good. It was good, but you know, you got different opinions. You got a lot going on.
True.
And, you know, you gotta take everything with a grain of salt. You gotta use what works for you, and you gotta apply it if it works for you. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can still get your life back. Get your life back. It's real. Get your life back. Get your life back.
You know how the saying goes, eat the meat and throw away the bone.
I always say that, eat the meat, spit the bones. I say it all the time. I always say you may not agree with everybody. I may not agree. You may not agree with me. Eat the meat, spit the bones, because you might miss something.
Yes.
You know, some people quick to throw everything away. I'm like, you might miss something. Like hearing a word, maybe in church and something, you're like, well, that ain't for me, but like keep living because it might apply to you later.
Yes. Can't throw away the baby with the bathwater, right?
That's what they say. I'm like, there's many messages I heard back in the days that's blessing me now. Noah Jones from TD Jakes, from all of them. I'm like, Creflo, whoever. I'm like, I remember this.
Exactly. So.
How was your weekend? You had company coming to town?
Oh my God. Yeah, my mother, she's having her 65th birthday on Thursday.
Oh,
so there's a lot of like moving parts happening right now. I'm trying to help. You know, in Florida, it's a vacation spot, so people come out here and they forget that I'm not on vacation, right? Like, you be on vacation.
Right. So, okay, that made me think about asking you, how did your family feel about you being on the show? From mom to whoever you shared it with.
You know, my mother said to me, my nickname is Bigger, right? So my mother was like, Bigger, I'm surprised. So that was really everyone's response, was they were really surprised. I was surprised. I was surprised, you know, so I can understand their, you know, and then when they were saying it, I think I had a couple people call me, it was like, are you okay?
I was like, the same reaction.
Like, Calvin, are you okay? Are you going through something? I was like, I do not need for us to do a kumbaya and do like a round table, like
intervention. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. So everyone was a little bit surprised. They were a little bit shocked. You know, and a lot of people reached out to me, people that I haven't spoken to in a while. You know, that was their opportunity to kind of reach out to me at that point too. So
because I was getting ready to say, did anybody come out the woodworks? You know, women
there was a couple of those. There was a couple of those. You know, I had to burn the wood down.
You gotta be careful. They come out the woodworks. You're like,
I was like, no, it ain't. We ain't going. No, we ain't doing that.
Oh my God. So I want to ask you this question because I had a conversation with somebody earlier, and I kind of know the answer how I feel about it, but based on other people's experience. But do you feel, let me see, how can I put it? Reconnecting with somebody from your past is always going backwards? And I tell you why I asked you that.
You know, no, I don't think that, right? Because you just said something that was key. Sometimes there was a message back then, right, that you could apply now, right?
Yes.
So so we're hoping and we're expecting people to evolve.
There you go. Right.
When we met at that time, maybe it was bad timing. Maybe I wasn't evolved. Maybe they weren't evolved.
Absolutely.
And we tried to get together. And then sometimes you can revisit it and see where you at. You know, and you know, if the flags are still there and the things are still there, then it's like, okay, here is why it didn't work.
Right.
You know, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just seeing where we at this point, you know, and seeing if we can connect it to that place. So no, I don't see anything wrong with that, no.
Yeah, and I feel the same because there's so many people I've met where they reconnected and life is better for them. Even couples who divorced, like you said, go through some journeys, come back together and realize they each other's thing. Like we gonna just ride a life, you know.
No, 100%.
And it's better the second time around because they mature and they went through some things, you know.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that, Cheryl, because I always say, I don't know how any of my ex dealt with me, right? Like back then, I was the worst, right?
Break
Like,
that down.
no, honestly,
A
I
little bit,
always,
like how? In what ways?
my communication skills was
Okay.
absolutely awful.
But you didn't learn it. You probably didn't have nobody to teach you how to even do that, like the tools, or did
No,
you?
you're right. You're right.
Right. Okay.
I didn't have that manual.
Right. Right.
to
It's not
be able
modeled. Yeah.
to be able to teach me how I should go about life and how I should go about things, you know. So I would always say that I would let them into the living room and the kitchen, which was here.
I heard
but
you
I
say that.
wouldn't let
Yes.
them into the bedroom, which was here,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
You know, but by the grace of God, one thing I did appreciate about them is that they had patience with me, right? Like they really tried to help me out. They really tried
Okay.
to, but I wasn't there. I was
Right.
not there. You know, as much as they really stuck it out with me and tried to make sure that it was going to
Yeah.
work, all the relationships that didn't work was because of me.
Got you.
Back in the day, it totally was me. Like I was
Okay.
like, yeah, that ain't, no,
I
don't.
appreciate you. Yeah, being honest. More men need to hear that. Like, yeah, I got to grow in this area.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. It took me a
and
while.
no shame. Just
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
admitting it. It's no shame. It's like you really. What's the saying? Tell the truth and shame the devil.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
can't get you because you
exactly.
already pulled out everything. Like, what you got? What? Yep, I did that too. What?
Yeah,
Because there's
yeah.
no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
You're
Because
so
you're
right.
growing, you're evolving. So it's like I'm not holding on to that. I'm another person. I'm a new creation. Okay,
Yeah.
let me not stop preaching. But anyway,
Yes. Yeah, but
Okay,
now
so
I can look at myself and be like, now look at me. I'm
that-
good.
right?
I'm good.
Exactly.
I'm good
That's
now.
right.
I got to that point, but still evolving, still working,
Of
still a work
course.
in progress, you know, things
I
like
am
that.
too.
But that communication took me some time to understand. You know, I didn't understand why it was so important. I think
Right.
that's really what it was. Like, I was like, I said what I said, and that's it. Like, why
Right.
do you need me to go deeper into it, right? Like,
Right.
why are we unpacking this? But I understood why. Now
Yes.
I understand why it needs to be unpacked, why it's
Yes.
important to go to different layers of conversation. And at that time, I was just like, the game is on. Like, what we doing? Like, the game is on.
Right. Right. That was it. Yeah.
You know, you got me. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Exactly. That's it.
You
Oh
listen,
my God.
Listen, you know what the scripture in the Bible, you know, as a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a
Yes,
child, I thought as a child.
exactly.
But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So I had to put away
Absolutely.
childish things.
We're gonna get more into that too, because I got some stuff as far as the psychology and learning more about ourselves, even in school, the revelations that went on. It's like, oh my God, you start thinking about all the people around. It's deep. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do 4. I think we'll see. I'm gonna do 3 or 4 my ungained questions. Okay.
Okay.
So I do have some from the Christian one, but I also have some from the relationship one.
Okay.
This is the couples one. Do you find it easy or difficult to apologize to your mate if you have one?
Yeah, no, I don't find it hard to apologize at all.
Okay.
I'll actually apologize ahead of time. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I will apologize ahead of time, especially I know, I found myself, I'm not in a relationship, but I found myself doing that one time before, where I literally apologized because I knew what was going to happen.
Okay, now I want to see this because I'm hearing like confession booth and then go out and do the murder. What happened? Father, forgive me for I'm about to sin. Like, tell me how that.
Well, they did something that bothered me, right?
Okay.
And what I said to them was, I need time tonight to kind of go through this process, right?
Okay.
Because I already know that I'm going to get mad about something that has nothing to do with what I'm mad about, right?
Okay, right.
And because I care too much to care too much, I have to distance myself away from it. It's not your fault, it's my fault, because I attach myself to it. And I know me because I feel it building, right?
Yes.
So I apologize. So let me just step away from it tonight. Let me walk away from it tonight because I already know if I stay on the phone with you and you talk about pizza, I'm going to get an attitude about pizza.
Exactly. Right.
You know? So I knew, so I said, listen, I'm going to be totally wrong. I'm going to be totally wrong on what I'm going to do. if I go to that level with you. So let me remove my emotions and remove myself from the situation because I already see it building. And before it gets there, let me just remove myself. So that was my apology before it happened.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Honest, keep it real.
Yeah.
Okay, family's one. Talk about someone whom you really admire and respect and tell why. Really admire and respect.
Yeah, it was my pastor. He recently passed away. He was my everything, right? Like
I can tell, yes, like he was like a father, right? You said? Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Someone that I use a lot of his sayings.
Yeah.
I use a lot of his wordings. He taught me so much in life. And you know, he was the first man, you know, I didn't see my dad until I was 40 years old. You know, so he was the first man that ever told me I love you, you know, because, you know, growing up in a certain area, saying I love you to another man was couldn't do that, right?
Yeah, he's like, yo, I love you, man.
Like, yo, we good? We good.
Right. You're right. Language, body language.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but you know, he was the first man I've ever cried in front of. You know, and he let me know it was okay. Let me know it was okay. And I saw, and he would always say this to me, and this is why I can so much appreciate him. He said, you know, Big Cal, I see myself in you. And I saw myself in him, you know. And he was the man I always wanted to be and still want to be.
Like aspire. Exactly. Okay.
So watching here how he is with people and his patience and his tolerance level, I'm like, Pastor, you good. You really good.
Right.
You know, because he would, you know, and he would always talk about Jesus. He would always say, listen, Big Cal, he would always say, it's funny how we want people to be patient with us, but we can't be patient with them. Right. Said, and I've always asked Jesus to be patient with me. So I have to be patient with others. And I'm like, yes, I get it. I haven't applied that totally yet. I'm still
right. I got you. I know that's one area you said you're working on.
yeah. It's probably a 10-step. I probably need a 15-step process, and I'm probably on 4 or 5, but we're gonna get there.
I was gonna ask you how you doing with that patience thing.
Yeah, I think relationships have taught me a lot of patience.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
How old was you when you met your pastor? Were you in your 30s or?
Yeah, I think I was probably 32 when I met him.
Okay, so you got a chance to make a big impression on you. Okay.
Yeah. He really changed my whole life around. Like he helped me. My mother she's an amazing woman.
I'm sure.
Love her.
Yeah.
But she couldn't teach me how to be a man.
Right.
I didn't know that. He helped me. She got me here, and it was on and handed it to him. And
I love it.
To that next level, which I can really appreciate that about him.
That's awesome. Thank God he sent you somebody.
Yeah.
He sent me some spiritual fathers, and I got uncles and brothers in Christ, and they all look out for me all the time. Actually, what I love about having men in my life, some married and single, but they're just really brothers in Christ. They see my value. And so I can go to them, like if I meet somebody, I might want to run something by them or whatever. And just going by them, they kind of keep me like accountable. Yeah. I remember one time I liked a guy. I was new to this church, and there was a gentleman there. I was attracted to him. We just started talking a little bit. And so I asked my brother, one of my brothers in Christ, I asked about him because I don't know, I'm new at the church. And he said, anointed woman like you. When a man said that, I said, oh, he's telling me some stuff. I don't know him. Right? I don't know anything about it. He just started talking. And that's why I asked, because I said, you guys know him, like what's going on? Finding out, you know, he cheated on his wife. And then the person he married that he cheated on his wife with, he cheated on. So it's just like a pattern. And God showed me some things too. And so I was like, let me get some confirmation about what I'm feeling. When they said it, I was like, okay, we just stay cool.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, thank you, Lord, for sending people in my life, because Lord have mercy, it's not easy out there. It's not easy. That's why I couldn't go and ready love. First of all, I don't think anybody would even want to date me, because ain't nobody gonna probably wait until marriage to they'll be like, okay, I'll be celibate, and they out somewhere. But anyway, I mean, then again, you never know, because there was some women, and they felt like if they was worth the wait, they would.
Just about to say that.
Because I know some of them, they find that queen, like, no, I want to do life with you, whatever I got to do, because we got the rest of our life, you know.
Yeah. When a man really wants something,
Yes.
he'll wait for that thing that he really
That's true. That's true. Like I met that in real life. I just didn't know as far as the show,
Yeah,
how likely.
yeah.
If you had a hobby as a child, talk about it.
Well, I always play sports. Like
Okay.
I don't know if that's considered a hobby, but I've
It could
always
be.
played sports. Like
Okay.
sports, basketball, football, softball. It really just
Athletic.
kept me out of trouble. It kept me out of trouble from,
Okay.
I grew up in I'm not gonna say I grew up in the projects, but it was always around me,
I
right?
got you. Yes. Yes.
So I grew up in a certain area that it was just a lot of danger around me, right?
Yes.
So playing
Right.
sports kept me away from it. It kept me away from women, to be honest
Right.
with you, because I was like,
Yeah.
once I got around them and I got in high school, I was like, wow, like
Right.
this is different. Like I didn't know they were like this, right?
Whoa, right. Right.
Yeah, like wow, they're really
Like
how
a
old are
culture
you?
shock.
Yeah, and I didn't know how to maneuver around that. I didn't know
Okay.
how to navigate around that. Like,
Okay.
and then I was popular, so it was just like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
it was just like, wow, like I can
Okay.
have anything I want in this candy store. Anything.
It'll put you in the playground.
Yeah,
Long
so I just
playground.
have my brown paper bag, just
Oh
throwing
my
candy in
gosh.
there, not even throwing candy. Remember back in the days, they would have like the scooper. I'm just
Yes,
scooping.
exactly.
And I was just like, Calvin, this is not a good idea. So sports really helped me, and it taught me how to, it taught me a lot about life.
Okay, yeah.
So, sports teach you a lot about life, how to be committed to something, how to be dedicated to something, how to take losses,
Yes, right.
how to be a good how to lose properly, how to win properly,
Yes.
how to be just to be around other people, the camaraderie, like everything together really taught me a lot. Sports,
Right.
it kept me out of trouble, but it also taught me a lot about life, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So saying that, it teaches you not to know how to win properly. Would you say it kind of help you learn how not to internalize a lot of things because it's a loss, it's okay, not the end of the world, you're not going to die, that type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really did, because growing up, I didn't have a lot, so I had a lot of insecurities, right?
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
I suffered with a lot of insecurities, not having my dad, not having things, growing up a certain way. So hearing no was very traumatic for me. It was very like, it was the end all be all. Right,
exactly.
But playing sports and losing, I was like, why is nobody else upset? Like, what's going on? Like, how come you guys not take this personal?
Right.
And it would always be like, Calvin, we'll get him next time.
There you go. Right.
Next time. And I'm like, there's a next time? Like, like,
Right.
So I didn't understand that. Yeah. I was like, look, this is life or death. And they're like, no, it's easy. Like, okay, just take it easy. Yeah, another game. We actually got next. And I was like, oh, we playing after this? Like, so it really made me understand.
Yes.
And also understand how to win. Properly too, right? Like not like act like you've been here before, right? Like not throwing it in other people's faces and not and not taking advantage of wins, right? So now when you use that same mindset in life, not take advantage of people, in your life that are giving you things, that are part of your team, and making sure that you give to them the same way they're giving to you, and understanding what it means to win, and we all win together. So it really helped me understand life a lot.
Right. And that mindset, that's when you mature again, because you can see that in leadership. If somebody's always seeking attention, or they want to they like their name called, you could tell. I start putting on my psychological eyes, but I'm like, that person was looking for attention probably when they was young. Maybe they didn't get enough, and now it's like, we got to be careful, because you start hearing your name called, and it start to feel good. Now you smelling yourself, and just thinking you all that, and then now you're not humble anymore. And it's the worst thing for God to humble you, because it might happen in front of people. You want to humble yourself and pull your own self by the coattail. That's why you got to have people keeping you accountable in your life.
Yeah.
You need that. I embrace it. Even though it may sting sometimes because there's something in you. You're being recognized now. And then you're anointed, so I don't know the main root, but I know one of it is trying not to even receive it. It's just like titles. I'm into titles. It's important, of course, if you have a role, whether it's secular or in the church, just to recognize who you are. Nothing wrong with that. You need to be solid on that. However, as far as titles, I was just having this conversation with my best friend today. We both were saying we're the same. We're not caught into that. God using you here, do what he's doing through you. People will see, and people will call what they see. I said, because you don't know how he's going to move. Today, I may be a missionary. Tomorrow, he may move me in the prophetic. I don't know. I just want to be used. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to get caught up in those titles because that causes a lot of problems. You know, people get real caught up in like, don't call me Cheryl, call me Evangel. You know, all this crazy stuff. I'm like, what kind of spirit is that?
I see that a lot. I see that a lot. I see that a lot.
Yeah. I'm like, that spirit don't seem holy.
No,
and so I've seen enough to say, nah, don't.
You start getting titles, you start to feel entitled.
Oh, right, exactly. Even people say prophet, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna, get into all that. I have a gift of prophecy. I didn't call myself a prophet. I could be, but it doesn't even matter. And I think I pulled away from using that title because everybody's a prophet today. And it's a lot. God is going to continue to raise up prophets. I mean, it's part of the fivefold ministry. However, I don't want people, because people will start doing that, Calvin. They start pulling you. Cheryl, the Lord gave you a dream today. The Lord tell you anything? I'm like, don't come to me. No, go to the Lord. Don't do that, because you're going to try to get me to operate in the spirit of a soothsayer and a psychic, and that ain't I can't concoct stuff like that. I only can speak when they move. I can't. I just can't.
I'm with you on that. I totally understand that feeling. Just trying to stay grounded. It's in a world filled with people that do feel entitled, that everyone's looking for claps and looking for likes and looking for trying to stay in that space of excuse me, knowing who you are,
right?
Having too many people trying to put you on that pedestal.
Exactly. Don't do that, because they're the first one to crucify you when you do something wrong and you're human. Oh my God. They lose their mind. I'm like, well, you put me up there. I didn't put me up there. I'm not God. I'm not Holy Ghost Jr. I'm not. Oh my God. So look, I'm trying to do a little assessment of what I did pull from you. We're going to talk about strengths and all that stuff. But would you say you're discerning? This is the stuff that I see, that I get from you just the little short time that we talk. Very discerning, people watcher, you behaviors, empathic. That's all of you?
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah, very, like I have my degree in psychology and human development,
right.
So just before I even got my degree in that,
I was going to say, I'm talking about it's part of your name. Yeah,
it's just who I am as a person. Like, I can't turn that off,
No.
Just, something, and I like being that way, to be honest with you, because it helps me to understand how I should move.
Absolutely.
And who I like around me, and who brings out the best in me, and that energy. As soon as I walk into the room, I can feel it. I can connect to it.
Right.
There's a difference between a thermostat and a thermometer. One set the temperature, one adjust to the temperature.
Right.
So when I walk into that room, I'm going to set the temperature, and if I feel like it feels too hot, if I feel like this is not for me, there's no disrespect to anybody else. I just remove myself from it because I know me.
Absolutely.
That's really what it is. Yeah.
Right. That's because I was going to say, studying psychology, not only studying psychology, being that type of person, and learning a lot about yourself, you become more intentional in life, like who's in your circle, who you connect with. Now I'm at the point, I'm like, okay, if I meet someone, I'm not talking about a man, I'm talking about anybody. I'm trying to discern what purpose do they serve in my life. I need to know, because I always talk about the inner court friends and then the outer court and then the next whatever. You're associate, you're the friend, you're a lifer, you're here for a season, and those lessons we learn. And sometimes that hurts, because you can meet really good people you like to keep for life, but they were just for a season. Could be friends, and there was no bad blood, nothing happened, just faded out, whatever. We went two different ways, and it's like, oh God, I really like that person. I wanted to be friends, and you realize they was there. And then same with me, I was there in somebody's life for a season, and that was it.
Yeah. I try not to hold on to things too long.
Right.
I try not to do that. It's I try to operate in that same space, the same way I operate with my closet. Right.
Okay.
I kind of mean that to say that sometimes we have too many blue jeans We be like, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm getting the same thing and buying the same
Right.
thing. And it just gets crowded, right? It gets crowded in your closet and you have too much going on in there and you
Right.
can't really find that thing. And now you're like, oh, I can't find what I'm looking for. So then we go buy more stuff, right?
Looking at my closet now.
Yeah.
Right.
So I shop the same way I operate with people. I go into the department store. I may see 5 things.
Okay.
And I pick it up and I have it in
Okay.
my hand. And before I go to that register, I ask myself, do I need this?
Right. Yeah. The last
Do I
one.
need
I
this?
really need
Right?
this. Yes.
I'm like, I got something that looks like this. Put this back. This is a different blue, but it's the same blue. I didn't even wear the first one I bought. Put that
Okay.
back. I still got, and a lot of times I walk out of there saying with nothing. Like I didn't even need anything.
You put right. Mm-hmm.
I do the same thing with people sometimes. I'll be like, let me not gather too many things and too many people on me because it just gets cluttered and it's too much going on. And then you find yourself not really operating in a proper space because you have too much going on. So that's kind of how I operate and how I move.
And I've experienced being around the wrong people. They can bring out the worst side of you, the wrong. It's like, I can't be around you because you're not helpful to me.
Yes.
It's just not a productive relationship.
Yes.
Speaking of the EQ empath, did you get any light bulb moments? Because I know, again, study in school, studying the stuff that we studied, because you studied psychology, but I had a whole psychology classes, a whole lot of them studying counseling and human services and social work, of course. I learned a lot about me. That's when I first learned about me having a high EQ. I was like, oh, that's who I am. Because I wasn't good at math and I wasn't like the A type and all that analytical, but I'm a creative. So it really helped me. It gave me more of an identity or understand who I was, my identity, and understanding that I had a high EQ, which means I have a great capacity for understanding and having that empathy. And it was like a light bulb moment. It's like an open, like, aha, did you experience that?
Yeah.
No,
I definitely did. You kind of
why you do what you do. Yeah,
you touched on something about being creative, right?
Yes.
Like I was the worst in high school. Like I'm not even gonna say I dropped out of high school. I got kicked out of high school, right? Okay. I had 1 credit in 4 years, right? Like
you took right.
Yeah, I don't even know how that even works, right? I'm still trying to figure out the math. You can see I'm not good at math, right? So I wasn't good in school. I just couldn't connect with it. I just didn't know. But the minute I got kicked out of high school, everything, I got my GED, then I went to business school, went to paralegal, went to like school after school after school, and then things started to connect to me.
Connect and click, right.
Creative side, I was like, ooh, this works good. Like I like doing this, I like doing that. I went from, I guess the best way I can say it is, I went from wanting to be Mickey to being Disney.
Okay. Right.
Right. I didn't want to be in front of things anymore. I didn't want that attention. I wanted to create that thing.
There you go. Yes.
So that's kind of the space, being in that space where I realized a lot about myself. It wasn't really about the attention. Once I got over those insecurities, I was like, I don't operate good in this space. I operate better in being in a creative space. So yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love learning, love it all. Okay, so you in Florida, right?
Correct. Yep.
Is Florida going to be your permanent spot? Are you going along with the wind wherever God takes you, or what you think?
No, I think this is it for me. Like I moved my mother down here like a year ago, and watching my mother so happy in her house.
Oh yeah, mother's right.
Like it like every time she says she finds something new that she loves about her house, and when she walk in and I find like that, just that always makes me feel so good, right?
That's good.
Like, so the people around me, when I watch the people around me happy, it makes me happy. I'm a filler. Like that's how I get fulfilled. I get pleasure by giving that.
I did. Yes.
Watching the people around me excited and talking about it, I'm like, I'm good. I'm here.
Right.
I thought about Atlanta and thought about all of that, but I don't know if I can't move my mother out there, and I can't see her being here by herself.
Gotcha.
So,
I hear you. No, you didn't.
I'm good.
You got an assignment.
Yes.
And whatever else God has for you while you're there.
Yes.
All right. So I know Sabrina was doing her, what she call it, Friday, single something so Friday. She kind of put you out there like, this What she said, Taya, Single, and Calvin, and Randall. With that all being said, would you talk to a woman who slip into your DMs? Because I mean, y'all doing this social media stuff, so you know some of them. I mean, you probably maybe you already started. I don't.
Yeah, I get that. I get the DMs. I definitely.
Okay, because some people don't, but you can't miss opportunity, and they just got to weed out. And some people they do. They give it a chance.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I will say, like, all of the attention has been very overwhelming for me, to be honest.
I can imagine. That's yeah.
Yeah, I don't operate good in that space. It brings out the old side of me, and
yeah, you gotta know.
That is the one thing. If the one thing I could say about me is I may not know what is good for me, but I know what's not good for me.
No, yep. Exactly. That
and
can be
I
very
know
clear,
when I start going back to that person.
Right.
I know when the enemy is like, oh, okay. There you
exactly.
go. I'm gonna keep giving it to you.
Right.
So for me, I don't operate in that space because Biggie has a line where he says, "Don't get high on your own supply."
Right.
So I don't want to get too high on the attention.
Exactly. That's what you're talking about.
So for me personally, as cool as it is for a lot of people, I know that it doesn't help me to operate in that space very well.
Right.
It brings out the old Calvin, and I've been that person longer than I've been this person.
The new creature, new creation.
Yeah. So I know me. I'm like, so even certain things, and my pastor used to always say this, right? He'd be like, "Big Cal, don't fool yourself. You ain't that strong." Right?
You can't. Right. You ain't That's why we're supposed to pray without ceasing and say, keep our accountability partners, everything.
Yes. He said, don't put yourself. He said, boy, if you know you like candy, don't put yourself in a candy store and talk about you're gonna be good. Don't do it.
Right. Exactly.
So for me personally, again, it's cool, but I kind of stay away from that. Like,
I hear you.
I don't really operate in that space.
Right. I hear you. I like stuff to start organically. I'm not saying nothing can happen that way, but it's still, even that, it would be like friendship, talk, connect that way and happen organically. I'm not the type to jump right into a relationship and I'm going to be spying and looking to see what your communication is, because we got the empathic thing.
Yeah. I'm like, what you doing?
Yeah, right. What kind of conversation you having on social media? Yeah, all of that stuff.
Yep. Facts.
Oh my goodness. So what were your takeaways on Ready to Love? What did you might have spoke about a little bit before, maybe something you learned. I know you learned maybe some things about yourself. I guess in terms of, like you kind of answered and you said, what you don't like or what because the dating, I know you learn a lot about yourself. It's kind of like you're learning about other people, you're learning about who you connect with, you're learning about certain energy you don't vibe with. And I know in my little dating, haven't done a whole lot, but I definitely know what I don't like. Having conversations with men, I can tell already, like, okay, this not even gonna happen off top because you're looking for something, you already have an idea. And I don't mean some fantasy, I just mean the real core things that you really need, you would need in that person, the one you want to spend life with. And so what were your takeaways? Did you get any takeaways from Ready to Love? And then even in your just dating life period, which have you learned?
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, right? Like, I'm a person that likes to observe things, right?
Right.
Ready to Love, everything is happening very fast. Things have to move very quickly. Show it's they're trying to put the best product out there, and I get it.
Right, exactly.
I don't operate in that space, right? Hence why I don't have kids. Hence why I've never been married or engaged. Things like that, because for me, you'll never know completely, but I like to take my time to go through the process, to see how things can operate in that space, because I don't want to be going to step 5 and we didn't clear step 2. Like, that's just not how I am. So for me with the show, it was a little bit, I watched probably 3 episodes before, but I didn't take time to really process it like that, to be honest with you. So when everything was happening, I was like, wow, this is like quick. Like, this girl and this girl.
That's what that speed dating next.
And I was just like, Calvin, what's going on? Like,
right.
Felt like I was back in the old me at the club.
Right.
This girl walking in, I'm dancing with this girl and Dutty whining, and then this girl, and I was like, okay, Calvin, this ain't even you. Like, you can't even operate.
Right.
It's like, don't even fool yourself. So,
Right.
the journey was short, and I guess God knows, right? Like,
Absolutely.
God knows. It's like, listen, boy, you better trust this process, and don't rush this process.
Exactly. Everything is, you get a lesson out of it.
Yeah. So even watching it from afar, to be honest with you, watching my castmates been on it, like, I literally thought about this today because I was watching some of their interviews, and in the process before you get on there, there's a process before you get on there, which can build anxiety, right? Because it's just that process is crazy.
Anticipating, waiting, right? I can imagine.
Right.
Okay.
And then the process on, like, now being on the show, right, and everything is happening, and then the hardest process is after the show, because now people are getting, they pull back the curtains, and now everyone gets to see you, and it's not like it's the show Girlfriends or Sisters where you play a different character.
No,
and
right.
Somebody can call you a different name, and that's not
right.
who you are. They're literally seeing people's emotions play out on the screen, and it's not easy. It's not hard.
No, and it can trigger you. Yeah, you may be really good, but being in an environment like that, it don't necessarily mean the person still got a whole lot of trauma. Sometimes no, you're in the wrong space. People will trigger you. So of course, you set your life up when you're healed, that you don't put yourself in certain situations, or you don't be around certain people, because you're not trying to go back, as you say. You're trying to stay on the side of healed. I'm good. When you're in that space like that, I can imagine it being very triggering. And when it's and the reunion's a whole nother thing. My gosh.
So even when on the reunion, I saw so many emotions, right? So I came in there again. I didn't really have experience. I came in there all happy, joy, and then you're
like, wow, whoa,
I'm sitting there like, for real, like it was, and I was watching backstage, watching people literally go through the emotions, and I was like, and everyone just kept saying this to me, Calvin, you lucky.
I said he kind of dodged a bullet.
And I was like, wow, like it was a different found respect for the my castmates to watch them go through it, and then now even afterwards, because social media is a beast. Like,
I know.
They will tear you apart.
Got to really protect your mental health. Exactly.
So it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine. So again, listening to you on Sabrina's show, I said, let me get this question here. I remember you saying something about in the past, I don't know how long of a pattern you may have had that, but you have chose women based on their, I guess, their looks being sexy, but not having a substance.
Yeah.
But I know now you're more intentional, because you seem like you way past that now.
Yeah.
What was my question about that? I think I wanted you to elaborate on that.
Yeah, again, it comes back to me, my insecurities, right? But my insecurity was that I was always hearing no when I was younger. So once I got to that stage where I was hearing yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
I wanted it all. I wanted it all. I
can have that candy, that.
Yeah, exactly. I was like throwing bait out there, and I was throwing it back, right? Like, I would catch it, reel it in, and then throw it back.
Okay.
Because it helped. So I thought helped build my security level, right? Knowing I could get the pretty girl that everyone wanted, right? And she wanted me. And I was like, okay, I'm good. So I went after every girl I thought was pretty.
Right.
Yeah, I want her. I'm
married.
So what?
I want her.
Now she's half retired. I don't care. I want her. I don't care.
Right.
I just want her.
It's like that trophy, yeah.
And I thought it validated me. And, and when people saw me now I can sit back and be like, yeah, I'm the man. Meanwhile, I'm the little boy with the insecurities.
Right.
With the pretty toy and the nice toy. And I wasn't growing. And again, there was nothing wrong with them.
Got you. Okay.
It was everything with me. They walked into it being who they were. Right. And my pastor would always say this, right? He'd be like, so you got a whole tree. And you got a bunch of apples on the tree.
Right.
And you pick the bad apple. So so is it the apple that's bad?
Right. Because you wonder, like, why do you pick the bad apples? That's like, why do you always pick the you get introspective. Exactly. Absolutely.
I was always the common denominator out of everything.
Okay.
At the end of the day. So again, I had to assess myself. I had to reevaluate myself and ask myself, Calvin, why do you keep picking these women? And don't get me wrong, I'm attracted to what I'm attracted to.
Of course, right.
know,
But you got to, it's
but
more
it
than
wasn't. But I was like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, not to them. I would say this to them. What's wrong with you? Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Right. Right.
I needed to sing the Michael Jackson song, starting with The Man in the Mirror.
Right. Exactly.
You know, but I didn't see it at the time, to be honest with you. I just didn't. It took me a while. Yeah.
Okay, so what are 3 core values you want your wife to have?
Loyalty, God-fearing, and selfless.
Okay, because you're giving, you definitely want to have somebody who's giving.
Yep. So those.
Because that wouldn't be good. You giving and she's like, why you always get? That's a whole nother conflict.
Yeah. I've been there before. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you experienced that. Yeah. Not gonna work. What area you want? And what area you want to strengthen within yourself? I guess what areas you want to grow. I know you mentioned patience as an area you like to continue to grow in. And can you pick anything else out you can highlight? I want you to highlight your strength for one, but I want you to highlight another area you want to grow in. What's your strengths? This is a job interview.
Yeah, I know.
I hate that question.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you say that, Cheryl, because it's almost like when I'm in the gym, I don't look in the mirror. You know why? Because I don't want to see what's good.
Okay.
Right? Because
okay.
I almost work better underdog. Right? I work better telling myself, you need to do better. You need to do better. Right? Because when I see something that looks good, I feel like, oh yeah, okay.
Okay, right. Get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? So even when I'm in the gym and somebody tells me something, I'm like, don't tell me that. Like, don't tell me that. Like, tell me I'm not doing good.
You feel like you're gonna keep motivating yourself and keep going and pushing.
I work better that way, right?
And that pressure, you said, right.
Yeah, then I'm like, oh really? Oh, I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna prove it to them, right?
Okay.
That's just sometimes I use that as a motivation. That's probably just I've always been an underdog growing up, right?
Right.
For underdogs, right?
Right.
The thing that I would want to strengthen is, my friend said this to me one time. She said, Calvin, you know what your problem is?
It's just blunt.
I was like, I really don't want to know.
Okay.
I said, my problem is you. But no. She said, you think everyone is like you. And you think people are going to give the way you give.
Right.
People are going to be there the way you be there. You think people are going to support things the way you support things.
Right.
So my problem is that exactly what she said. She was 100% right. Right. I struggle with when I give something, I expect it back. And as great as that would be, everyone isn't that way. It's not that they don't want to be. It's not that they don't want to give.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they don't have good intentions.
Right.
Sometimes that's all they can give. Sometimes they're trying to give. Sometimes they're trying to figure themselves out and understand why they do some of the things that they do.
Right.
So for me, I'll get into that pocket, that space where I'm like, I don't understand what you don't understand. Like what's so hard? Right? Yeah. This is me.
I know the struggle.
Yeah. And then I was like, Calvin. And then I hear my friend's voice like, you know what your problem is? I'm like, oh boy. It takes time for people to evolve. It takes time.
Right.
It takes time for them to learn what it is. And sometimes when you go through things in life and people may go through things, maybe it knocked them out of that space and they need to be realigned. Right?
Exactly.
They need a realignment to get back into that thing. It's not like they don't want to, because they'll say, Calvin, I'm a giver, I'm this, I'm that. And then I'm like, oh, I don't see it. But then I forget sometimes that past relationships, past
all the stuff we go through,
right? Whatever shit they've been through will probably put them in a space where it's hard for them to do it.
It's
and
hard.
now I'm always trying to be more like, I get it now.
It's the empathy coming, that grace.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I can empathize, but I'm like, I'm still hungry. I need to be
Yeah,
fed.
because you would like that, right? People in survival mode, all kinds of modes.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
While you trying to season the meat, I'm starving. Like I
Right.
need you to do something.
That's so funny. My ex-husband told me that. He said, not everybody thinks the way you think. I think I was in my late 20s or early 30s, as far as wanting people to care more. And that's why I realized that's why I asked you about the core things you want in a person. I understand for me, I've learned by meeting different men that I need someone who's very mindful, I'll say, and thoughtful. You're forward thinking. Like you already think way ahead. You know, you're thinking about me. That means a lot to me, that you're mindful of me, you're caring about me, the things that I care about. So it's those things that matter a lot to me. But you know what helped me with, because I had the same issue you have too, is like, it felt nice to get it back. I don't give to get back, never did that. However, I realized I was like one of the ones in my circle that gave a lot. Not only not anything necessarily material wise, but just of myself. And you expect it back. But you know what helped me? It's gonna sound corny, but this is what helped me. The scripture that says, do it as unto the Lord. It freed me up, Calvin. It did. It freed me up. I said, so for now on, my mindset is I'm doing it as unto the Lord, as if I'm giving it to the Lord, so I don't look back. There's no resentment. I won't hold anything against the person. And I understand that God will give it back to me in different ways. And I'm telling you, that alone freed me up from wanting and expecting people to think the way I do, give back, being mindful, being thoughtful. Like I'm the one who will schedule their day around people. It matters to me. I'm a relational person. So like if you said you coming over for dinner, I'm just giving an example, I would create that in my schedule. Like this time is for Calvin. And I realized sometimes even some of my friends, they didn't do that for me. And sometimes it bothered me. It's like, and then sometimes don't call and let me know, oh girl, I was gonna come. And I'm like, I literally went shopping and bought things that you like because you was coming over. A lot of them don't even know this. And they never know, but it's like hurting me because I do this for my friends who are like family. And I wouldn't get the same thing back. And I had to learn not to take it personal. So that's why I had to do all that. Like, okay, you know what? Like you said, some people, they not in the headspace. I know these people love me for life. They will be there for me for in a lot of other areas. But sometimes, like you said, going through things, they just caught up in life, period. And so it's not like they're saying in their mind, well, I'm not going to call Cheryl. I'm not going to come over. I'm going to, it's not like they're going through that. They just, I have to learn to love people, how they are, meet them where they at. But sometimes another issue was, I'm like, why I always got to be the one who's understands? It's my conversation with God. Why I got to be the bigger one or the more empathic one? Sometimes you get tired of that too.
I just want to be Peter. I want to cut off people's ears. Like, I don't want to be that guy.
Exactly.
And it's funny, Cheryl, like a situation happened the other day. I was asking somebody for some advice about my mother planning something for her.
Okay.
I found myself getting frustrated because I'm a person, like, I don't do good with problems. I do better with solutions. Don't give me the problem, give me the solution, right?
Okay.
So don't tell me what could have happened. Well, if you'd have done this, okay, that don't work well for me, right? Well, I wish she would have had this, and then I found myself getting frustrated, and I said to this person, I said, you can't help me.
Okay. Okay. Right.
I said, because you keep telling me what can't happen, I'm trying to figure out what can happen.
Because you're more on the positive side like me. You're more on the glass half full. Let's work it out. I know. Solution.
And then I had to apologize. And I said, I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay, good.
I realized that I'm sorry. Because I literally remember telling somebody else this and God is so funny. Because I got mad on one day, but the day before, I remember telling somebody, you know what your problem is?
It came back around again.
I said, you know what your problem is? You think everyone is a blessing the way you are, right? Being a giver is a blessing, is a gift.
Right.
Being that person that can set the atmosphere for your friends is a gift.
I realized that was
a person that can be understanding and knowing things and seeing it before is a gift. And everyone doesn't have that gift. It's like a rose in a concrete, right? You know, it's like a black diamond. And what makes you special is because you do that. And if everyone was like that, then you wouldn't be special. You would be
exactly.
Like
and God showed me that too. Exactly. Like,
yeah,
this
and then
is who
as I
am
was
with
saying
my-
that, I was like, oh,
yes.
yeah. Okay, Calvin, take your own advice.
Right. But I can't see how we complement each other. Those who are in my circle, we complement each other in different ways. So I love it. You know, it's like, okay, but in this area, this person is good for me. And I've learned things from them. They learn things from me. We balance. And that's what relationships are all about. And they all take work, whether it's friends, love, or whatever.
You're right. You're right about that. You're right about that.
It takes work. Good Lord.
Yeah.
It don't have to be hard, but it takes some work.
Yeah. It's just got to be worth it. Right?
It got to be worth it. But I'm not settling when it comes to the marriage relationship. I need you to be mindful. I need you to be thoughtful. I need you to be empathic. And I need you to, because the things that I know that I do in the world and giving and sharing, and from ministry to counseling to whatever, I'm a social being. I'm going to help people. I couldn't have anybody, first of all, who's stingy, don't want to give, and just not mindful, not thoughtful of other people. You in your own world and you're self-centered. It won't work.
It brings out the best in you when they can be that way. So no, I get it.
Exactly. Absolutely. Oh my God. So we finished now. I'm so glad that you was able to come back. I was so happy you said we could do it. I was like, okay. I was like, we just gonna do it like a part 2. We gonna try to do it over again because that was just good. It had its own energy for that time, for that podcast, which was so great. That's why I was so mad that I couldn't see you.
Listen, sometimes things are supposed to happen that way. You know how it is. You know how God is. See, he'll take something that's good and destroy it for something that's great.
Okay, I know that's right. I just kept it as an audio for the audio podcast. Anyway, thank you so much, Calvin. I appreciate you coming on here. Don't forget about me when you do your podcast.
Oh no, you're on it. So that is a given. That is a given. That's not even a question.
All right. Awesome. I love it. I love it. It's funny when you get on Dress Through Podcast, I'm ready to tape and do some more, but I'm not. Because you gotta before you came out, like, this is production. This is a lot of work.
It is.
And this is a little bit of stuff, but I've been on sets of shows and movies, and it's a lot. It's like, oh my God, you got to be there so early in the morning just for that. It may be one scene, but you got to.
No, you're 100% right. Even the 2 things that I was on this past week is literally, I think one was 2.5 hours, and then one was 3 hours, and it was like.
You sound like you was on with Kojo. You talking about Kojo?
Well, no, no. Kojo's was like.
You have you for hours. Even though I love her, I'm like, Kojo, it's 2.5. Who was he interviewing? Kadian? Her too, and somebody else. It was like,
Jamala.
Injustice, huh?
I think he did Jamala for like 3.5 hours.
Jamala too, but I remember Kadian saying something about the time is getting there. And then when he interviewed, was it Justin or Justice? Justice, right?
Justice, yeah.
He was like, Kojo. He said it's going on too. I was cracking up. I'm gonna have to get Kojo one day. We're gonna have to, because he got that mind too. He like
I can see y'all both mentally jabbing. I can see that.
Absolutely. All right, Calvin, you have a good evening. I ain't gonna keep you any longer.
No problem. Thank you very much. I love it. I really appreciate you having me on here. Thank you.
I appreciate it too. And I hope everybody who watched this, when you do see it, that you got a lot out of it. Let us know you identify with something spoke to your spirit. You can resonate, whatever, because that's what it's all about as we continue to evolve and to grow and to share experiences. Iron sharpens iron. It don't have to be from somebody in your circle. It could be for somebody you meet for a short time. And Calvin dropped a lot of gems. He always does. I watch him in other interviews. I'm like, okay, philosopher. All right. It's coming out. I love it though. And I know people are blessed by a lot of things that you say. So I just appreciate you, period. And everybody else, you guys have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time of day or night it is where you are. And until we meet again, be blessed.